Hi, my name is Carlos Arias Reyeti. I am a special envoy of Latin America of the World Philosophical Forum and editor-in-chief of UT Channel. I am here to celebrate with my fellow friends of the Malaysian branch of the World Philosophical Forum the Philosophical Day, sponsored of course by the Malaysian branch of the World Philosophical Forum. And for this celebration, we have just launched, or we are about to launch, the book, The Mind of the World Philosophical Day, towards the World Philosophical Day 2019. And with us is one of the authors of the book, Dr. Aida.
Yep.
She wrote a paper called Research, Philosophy in Logistic and Supply Chain Research, Ontology, Epistemology, and Axiology Perspectives. So we are going to discuss a little bit about this paper and the point of view she had regarding this topic. Hi Dr. Aida, thank you for coming and being here with us. Thank you for this opportunity. I really like that you opened the paper with the philosophic research, talking about the philosophical stance a person has when doing some research in the construction of knowledge.
Yeah.
So, based on that, the first question I have for you, what is truth?
Well, the truth is actually what you believe. So what you believe may come from what you see, what you listen, what you gain from knowledge, what you read, or maybe from your research findings.
Okay, so the truth, the concept you have is individual.
Yeah, because for me, everybody will have their own belief. Everybody will have their own truth or their own philosophy.
And what about those, for example, scientific laws, which are always reproduced no matter what? Are they truth as well?
Yeah, we can consider it as a truth as well, because any information that we gather is not only coming, it just automatically here. It is coming from the research, it's coming from the works that have been done by a group of researchers or scholars.
And is there any difference between those truths that no matter what they're always being reproduced, and those that maybe I have a perception about something that is my truth, but it can be measured, it can be reproduced because it haven't been proved yet? Is there any difference between these?
The thinking is also, we can consider it as the truth or with some evidence, that's why we have to produce some research and so on. And issues in every area, it always different, and it always happen from day to day differently. There is the need for us to study on some issues and to reproduce the knowledge.
So in your paper you say that understanding the underpinning of research philosophy, I mean the philosophical stance the researchers has, right?
Yeah.
According to that, it's good for the researcher to understand this, because this will allow him to use the method, a better method, to her research, right? To the research he's doing. So tell us a little bit about that.
Okay, every researcher or every scholar actually has their own paradigm or their own philosophical stance or their own thinking, and all these thinkings, like for example, positivist researcher and also another group is interpretivist researcher, have different methods in collecting the data, analyzing the data. What they think, how they should collect the data, how should they analyze the data, will lead to one finding as well towards the end of the research, right? The truth or the findings of the research. Well, if they know, they have their own philosophy and they have their own methods and process, it will help the researcher to do the research more with their passionate, what they like, what about their thinking and so on.
So the important thing, no matter if you are inductive or deductive researcher, the idea is getting to the truth. So does it really matter the philosophical stance you have, or the method you use, or the approach you use during the research, if we have the same goal?
Yeah, because you know, with different perspective or different thinking or different method of data collection, data analysis, maybe it will lead to more findings or more interesting findings or story about one phenomena that we study. So it's actually it is good that we have to have more various method compared to a mono method, only one method, one way of doing that. Yeah.
I agree with you.
Yeah.
But actually, you apparently in your paper you say the opposite. I mean, the opposite. I mean, it seems that you like separate those methods, but shouldn't we use both methods along the research?
Actually, in research, there are some methods that is suitable for this type of investigations. Another method is suitable for another type of investigation. So it depends on how the area that we study. It depends also on the domains that we study. So this leads to the difference in methods or techniques or tools that we use in research. And this is actually sometimes researchers do not know that they are, oh, I'm a positivist or I'm an interpretivist, but they do it the way they think. Then this is called as philosophy. Sometimes they realize, sometimes they are not realize that they are actually, whether they are positivists or they are interpretivists. But at the university, especially for the postgraduate who are taking a PhD, Doctor of Philosophy, they will very well versed because they go in depth in the research process. So this is part of their research process and part of their research writing in their research methodology. So they have to explain about their philosophical stance and their methods, techniques. All these are related with the stance that they have, whether positivist or interpretivist.
I just realized that, I mean, it's really important, and I agree with you, that we should have philosophy driving our research. And I agree with you, even though there can be more fields, philosophy, more branch, I agree with you that we can at least have the approach of the understanding of the phenomena or the entity through the ontology, the epistemology, and the axiology of that entity. So about the ontology, it's really interesting because what does exactly the understanding the ontology of the entity means for you?
Okay, ontology is actually referred to the reality things. How do you see the realities? Like for example, how do you see the sun? How do you see the sky? So these two types of researcher, like for example positivists, so where they see the sky is blue, so they believe that they will make their own hypotheses. Wherever they go, the sky is blue. But for the other types of scholars or the other types of researcher, which is interpretivists, they also agree that the reality, the sky is blue. But actually, they believe that there is something that makes the sky is blue. There is something that connecting, or I'm not sure what kind of name. So this will leads to the researcher to go in depth investigation in their research. Compared to the positivists, they accept, they make their own hypothesis, and then they, for those who have hypothesis, they will have questionnaires and so on. But for those who have interpretivist feelings or interpretivist stance, they want to dig more knowledge, dig more information, rich understanding on the phenomena that they want to study. That's why they have to go to the fieldworks and they study more depth. So maybe they go for observations, they go to do experiments, or they go for interviews. They are in the fieldworks.
But the experiments are not done by interpretism, but by deductivism, positivism, right? So if,
we also have a experiment is part of the qualitative study also.
Okay.
Or interpretivist. Like for example, you experiments between students in class. You see the observations between two groups of students. For example, this is also experiment.
But how can be the ontology of the entity different from two persons if once we get to the truth about why the blue is the sky is blue, for in this example, it should be the same ontology. I mean, the ontology let us understand the nature and the essence of each entity. So once it is proven why in this case the sky is blue, we all should be agreed on what the nature and the essence of that phenomena should be. Or, am I right?
Yeah, because knowledge is very wide. We have to update the knowledge. We have to need. That's why we need more research to be done. Even though last time some group of researchers already done the research. So because the issues is increasing, the problems is increasing. So we need to get update with the informations or with the knowledge on the current situations in whatever we see, because we want to see our environment clean, for example. So more research needs to be done to maintain what we have now.
So how far are we right now to implement this philosophical stance, philosophical research in universities?
Actually, philosophy is in ourselves since we were born. So for those academicians who are working in the university, they are all already familiar with this, and it has been applied at the university since many years ago. It is not new. It is already been implemented. But sometimes some scholars, they do not know that they are having this philosophy, and unless they dig out or they investigate about what they're doing, then they realize, oh, I'm actually a positivist researcher, or I'm actually an interpretive researcher.
You also talk about the axiology of the phenomena which is being investigated. So for you, what is understanding the axiology of that?
Axiology is actually referred to how we as a people should think, how should we contribute to the world, how should we contribute to the knowledge, how we should contribute to the society, to the community, or to the practitioners, to the governments. So from the scholar's perspective, whatever we study from our research, we always have to think from this finding how this can leads to benefits to the people around us, and also maybe to the environment as well, so that we can harmonize, or everybody get the same knowledge, same sharing, same informations to improve what we have, what current situations.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Actually, I think it's really important to understand the phenomena and the effect it may have in an individual, the society, and the humanity, because it is different. To all the levels. So how can this practice of the research philosophy can help to bridge peace and harmony in the world?
As I said, every research will lead to findings, right? Findings will be shared to the people, to the organization, to the society, to the community. With this knowledge, they will actually enhance their current understanding on one issues, and maybe can improve also the relationship between the communities, and this leads to the harmonizations inside the communities, inside the organizations, because when with that findings, everybody knows their roles, their functions, how to solve the problems, and what are the challenges or issues that need to be solved, or then it will lead to the harmonizations. And of course, harmonization is connected to the peace.
Right, I agree with you. Well, thank you very much, Dr. Aida, for being here with us. I hope that all of you can read the book, The Mind Towards to the World Philosophical Day 2019, and maybe you can use this interview to understand better the author of the paper you will see there. And hope to keep coming with us to see the activities the Malaysian branch of the World Philosophical Forum have to celebrate this important day. Thank you very much to be here. Thank you very much, Dr. Aida, to
Thank you,
be
Mr. Carlos.
with us today, and see you soon.
Bye.